Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Marcella again, and welcome back to the video series about 21st century change. Welcome to this community. In this second video, I'd like to talk to you about the cultures, corporate cultures of the 21st century, and how important it is to balance relations and results, and to have the best of both worlds, actually. Let's take a look. So, 21st century change and the cultures. I'm going to show you how to balance 4 culture types and how you can use that to start your successful change project and engage your people at work. And we're going to have a look at the 6 factors that make up an organizational culture that were found to be most decisive and describing of a corporation's culture. And we're going to see what workplaces need in a 21st century. And what we all want to do and what this is all about and why we're sharing this is that we want to have some great places to work in the 21st century. And we want to develop the workers, the workplace and the world. And the best way to do that is to engage everyone in the workplace in this 21st century. So we're going to engage the people, and you'll be able to create successful change. And that is change that is going to be sustainable and lasting. And we're going to see how organizations can perform and innovate and relate with their customers, their employees, with their societies, and to really contribute to the world. So that is great. In the first video, we covered some basics about the 21st century, how it differs from the 19th and the 20th century, Frederick Taylor as opposed to different ways of thinking. And I have shared with you the 7 conditions of successful change, and you remember those big yellow balloons that I showed you that you can check on if you think that your change project is not successful enough at the moment. And we showed you the 7 feasible steps of successful change that you can use to engage your people at work. So if we do all that, we're going to have great places to work. Let's go. Maybe you remember in my first video how I learned my lessons in life, some of my lessons, and how I learned that there is a difference between 21st century change, old change, and this new change, how I learned about that. And maybe you remember that I shared my frustration on one of my first assignments when there was this whole board of directors nodding and saying, yeah, great plan. Thank you so much, we're going to implement it. And then they didn't. So welcome to reality, Marcella. That was kind of frustrating, of course, and it was a great trigger looking back that got me learning more about human behavior in groups, human behavior at work, interaction patterns, how people influence each other, and all those factors that I didn't take into account so much. Of course, in my education, in my master's degree, I heard about Qatar and the steps of change and all those big theories. But again, those are very big concepts. They tell you what to look out, what it is, but they don't tell you how to do it. So I was going to take a look more at the individual belief systems of people, mindsets, what happens between individuals, you know, this whole field that is more, used to be the field of psychologists and counselors. And that was considered in the old days as something outside of the workplace. And that was right in the time that I was manufacturing stuff, and that it didn't matter so much how I felt about work and about myself and how I behaved at work. But nowadays in our service, information, experience economies, it's much more important that we have the right people skills, that we feel confident and competent, and so much more. So I started to take a look at those fields of not the big concepts and the what, but the how-tos, and more also at the individual level. When I finished my education in business science, my perspective was more like, I am right, you know, this is the best change program. So I take all the factors into account, I talk with all different kinds of people. Of course, I try to take a look at resistance and what people want and stuff, and if they feel urgency, if they have a burning platform to change and all that. Of course, and I put it in a big report. But then again, it doesn't help me to get it implemented. So maybe it was the best change program for their situation. When you look at it from an academic point of view, very analytical, yes, it was. I talked to all the stakeholders. We had a change committee. We tried to do all that. And we had this nodding board of directors in the end approving of this change program. And then they didn't do it, and the others in the organization didn't do it, so nothing happened. And this is the I am right best approach. It's not you can have a bit of this and a bit of that. No, it's or thinking. It's more exclusive. It's this is the best and we are right, and the change committee came up with this plan, period. Maybe that was a bit like old change. And then when I looked into this more, I learned that other people can have totally different mindsets. They have different maps of the world. Their perspective differs, and it can differ a lot from mine, actually. So we can be in the same reality, and we can experience different things. So I can think that the yellow wall behind me, you know, behind the map and in this yellow office, it's very inspiring, and it helps me to think and to innovate and to have great ideas and to be very productive in the workplace. So my perspective of this yellow can be great. Well, your perspective could be completely different. So you could be annoyed by yellow walls, and it will make you feel like you're in kindergarten or something, or you have associations. You think, it looks like a vacation place, so how can I be productive over here? So depending on your beliefs and your mindset and how you see things and how you experience them, it can be completely different. So my best change program maybe was the best program from an academical point of view. After all our research and analysis with the committee, it was the best program from our perspective. And the board of the directors agreed. But then the perspective from the employees was completely different. And maybe the perspective and the point of view and the opinion of some board members was different as well. So maybe they wanted just to be polite and say, yeah, great plan, go ahead, keep up the good work. But inside, they were thinking, I don't know if I feel like doing this. But they weren't addressing their own objections or second thoughts openly, because their culture wasn't like that. So they had belief systems like, let's be polite, let's respect people who are consultants, let's respect people from an academic background. And of course, they have calculated everything and thought it through. So this must be the best change program. We are willing to agree on that, but we're not willing to agree on doing it. We're not going to implement it. Maybe that wasn't what they were literally thinking, but it came down to this in the end. So it's very interesting that I only found out after going through the university and after my degree that I found out how incredibly perspectives can differ, and that people can be in the same situation and see it in a completely different way. At first, of course I knew that this was the case, but not to this extent. And at first, when I started realizing that this was the case and that I had to take other people's mindsets into account, though everything from the theory from A to Z said that this would be the best, but yet I had to relate to their perspectives and opinions and their second thoughts, I was annoyed. Because I was a very results-oriented person, and I just wanted to go through and I wanted to reach my goal, and oh, come on, do we have to spend another meeting on this? Yes, we had. And I learned to respect diversity and different opinions along the way. It's a way of aging and maturing, but it took me training to be able to deal with this better and not to be annoyed by my own impatience and by my own goal setting and by my own ambitions, but to take it a bit more relaxed, more slowly, and not to feel personally offended as well when somebody said, I don't know. I took it very personal in the beginning. So for me, it was quite interesting to learn all this and to see, to my amazement, how much perspectives can differ in the same situation, and how important it is to not only respect diversity, but also utilize it and work with it. And I'm telling you all this because this mindset of I am right and this is the best plan, or this is the way it is, I find this mindset among boards of directors, CEOs, and top executives. They have their own world, mostly they are in the top building with the corner office and the great view, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they have their own view, literally. So they see it from a different place, from a different position, and they have a different outlook on things. And when we work with leaders and CEOs and we present results of a culture assessment to them, they are often surprised to see that the others in the organization have a different outlook on things, or that they differ this much. And this is the same surprise that I experienced in that first assignment. It is the same surprise. It's like, oh, come on, this is a yellow wall. Everybody can see that and everybody knows. It's great. Yellow inspires and enhances performance. No discussion about that, please. It's the same surprise. It's the same lack of awareness that other people's perspectives can differ greatly. So please keep this in mind, because on our bad days, when we are in a hurry or we didn't sleep well or there's too much at stake, we can all fall back into our own perspectives and think that they are the best. So I learned, when I learned how to, and I started to do individual training and stuff, I learned how to engage people. So not only respect diversity, but also work with it. And engage people coming with different mindset, with different points of view, and say, okay, what is it that you want? How do you see things? And what is it that you not want? So the main thing to overcome this pitfall of I am right, top-down, exclusive, all change programs is to acknowledge and respect diversity, work with it, and engage your people. And then you are able to connect to people and to really collaborate with people without all the sabotage or resistance or confusion and stuff that can go on in organizations, and that takes so much fun and productivity away from your workplace. And not only collaborate, but also co-create. So together, as a whole, as a team, as an organization, you are creating and co-creating your change and meeting those challenges and really reaching a higher, better performance, innovation, talent retention, and what it is that you are aiming for. So this is how I learned the 21st century way, you could say. And then you come from the mindset of I am right to get it right. And I can be right, but if nobody is a fan or nobody is following me, you know, I could look like a fool and I fail in my project, period. But if I get it right, if I respect diversity and I engage people and I connect to them, I recognize and acknowledge their points of views, their ideas, I collaborate with them, I give and take a little, I take them seriously and I collaborate. I invite them to take ownership and agency. We co-create better performance, innovation, and a great place to work. So coming from I am right to getting it right, you're only getting it right, and people say, yes, you are right. They have to tell you that you are right, then you're having fans and followers. So 21st century, it's not just Twitter and Facebook with fans and followers. Every change effort needs to have fans and followers, positive energizers, change agents to work with in your organization to amplify this change initiative, to strengthen the vision, to stimulate the new behaviors again. And that is getting it right. So it doesn't matter if you are right or not, or your plan is best. It matters if you get it right and other people, your fans and followers, say, yes, you are right. Only then you are a leader, and only then you can accomplish 21st century successful change. Okay, that was my story, a bit of my story about how I learned this point. And I'd like to talk to you about balancing relations and results. The thing is, you can have both or not at all. It's not or, and nowadays what is very important, it's and. So it's and the board and the workers who have to agree on a change plan in order to implement it, really. And it's not about results and Frederick Taylor measuring all the jobs and everything around in your factory to get great profit and efficiency. It's also about relations. Do people like to connect with you, to collaborate with you, to co-create with you? The world is too complex to focus on results and figures only and to tell people what to do. You have to relate to them, to entice them to work with you, and then you have to stimulate them and teach them and show them how to do it. So you can see that the most successful companies have both. They have a people orientation as well as a results orientation. And I used to come more from results oriented, and then I had to learn a lot more about people. And I see this same thing with a lot of other people, leaders working in organizations. So balancing relations and results that seem to be two opposites, but who are not opposites really, and who are actually, they are amplifying each other. People-oriented cultures foster performance, and research shows this over and over again. You know, we have long lists telling you about research, how culture directly and indirectly influences performance, and how culture and beliefs and behaviors produce performance. There's even a great book about this called The Human Equation. It's full of research telling all the leaders who still believe in Frederick Taylor's approach maybe, how much these relationships at work matter. So the people skills, the people orientation, giving attention to your workers, doing one-on-ones and not the yearly appraisal meeting, but really giving feedback, working with your people produces tremendous and incredible results. And other companies who are very successful do this, and they know this. So they might not label it like this, but what they are doing is that they are balancing two opposites, so they have the best of both worlds. And some famous examples, of course, are Zappos and Starbucks, but also Southwest Airlines. All these companies still have, and they used to start out with, a clear people orientation, a culture that valued people very much, but not only on a conceptual level, but also very practical. So you know exactly how to do it and what is appreciated and what is not. You feel part of a team, and you feel engaged, you participate, and it appeals to our need to belong to a group. It's a deep human need. And when you do that, you are willing to commit yourself to this team, to this organization, and to work hard, because you're not only doing it for some CEO up in a tower that you never see, or some stakeholders and the stock exchange market, and to produce great figures. Nobody cares about figures and numbers. Really, what it comes down to is that we care about people. So I may be willing to give my best because I'm motivated and I like to learn as a professional, but also because I want to work in this great team with coworkers and I want to support my coworkers. Or I'm doing this for my great boss that I appreciate so much, and he's coaching me and I love to relate to this boss and work real hard for him. Or I work real hard for the purpose that we have in our organization. So organizational success is about the right balance. And a very important balance is exactly this balance between relations and results. So, come on. Some people will say to me, okay, 21st century culture, isn't that the happy hippie? Is that all love and peace at work? Come on, you know, employees always want more attention. They want positive feedback. They want to have more bonuses. They want to have longer breaks. They want to be able to chat to the others. Come on, you know, we're not a kindergarten. We're not a fun park over here. You know, we are a company, and we have stocks out there, and we have to produce value. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But the best way to do that in our service, information, experience economy is using people skills, feeling happy, and utilizing the vehicle of culture to produce the best possible outcome that is fun as well along the way. So it's not love and peace, not at all. It's appreciating your professionals as people. So you can see them as human resources that you need to work with efficiently. So you're going to time them in the Frederick Taylor way, and you're going to see how they are doing with their capabilities and their targets and everything. But you could also give them some attention as a leader or a boss or a supervisor or a CEO, and appreciate them as people as well. And you relate to them like they like to relate through Facebook and Twitter. Social media are big because of this deep human need. So if you appreciate your professionals as well as people, you get great outcomes. It's about respecting and stimulating agency and ownership, accountability. And that is needed because you cannot put down everything in procedures and systems, because reality is much more complex nowadays. So nothing is under complete control all the time. It isn't. So you will have very unusual requests from your customers, strange things happening, rapid change you have to respond to. So you need to have people with agency, highly educated professionals who take ownership for the issue and say, okay, I stand for my project, I'm going to solve this and I'll get back to you, or whatever it is that is necessary. This is what you need. You need intelligence and agencies at all levels. And you can only get that if you appreciate your professionals as people as well, and you relate to them and they will start to relate to you. And it's not just that, you know, it's also expecting performance, maturity. It's great. You can learn a lot, you can have challenges, you can have mastery and autonomy and purpose in your work, and we need to see this performance, and that can all be combined. It's all about the balance.